In this video, we'll talk about the concept of virtual marts within Attivio's semantic data catalog. So first, let's start with what is a virtual data mart and how is it different from a traditional one. So when we think about a traditional data mart, it's a collection of related data sources that can be used to answer a specific question. But the downside to them is that they typically require some advanced modeling, some integration, locality. Sometimes you have to materialize the data within them. Whereas Attivio's virtual data marts are much simpler and quicker to use. They don't involve the advanced modeling or locality, and they can be easily and freely modified. So this allows for sources or catalog entries to be entered once and then reused in multiple of these virtual marts. So just as the graphic shows on the right here, we can see that there are 4 sources in use, but one of them, the second source, is actually used in 2 separate marts. So then as users add these sources to their virtual marts, it doesn't affect the end user that they're virtual. They can still connect to that virtual mart and query it as if it was a materialized mart, or as if it was a database schema that they were querying. And then the virtual mart goes and retrieves the actual data from the underlying systems of record. For more information on how that part works, see our provisioning video. So this concept of a virtual mart brings several benefits to the catalog. One is that adding a source doesn't require materialization. So this is good because it means that it's computationally free to create a mart. We don't have to wait for data to be duplicated, we don't have to allocate more storage space, and that also allows for a faster and more responsive user experience as they go about creating and building out their marts. Another benefit is that within a mart, users can feel free to create custom views and aliases and modify how a source appears to them without impacting other users in the catalog. The third benefit is that the virtual marts enable simplified governance because the data is still remaining in a single location in that underlying system of record, meaning that all marts refer back to that single system of record, and also security only needs to be set at that one location. So let's go ahead and take a look at a demo of how virtual marts work and how their uses appear. So for this demo, let's start by actually creating a virtual mart. We'll go ahead and click this Build a Mart button. I'll give it a name, Virtual Demo Mart, or Virtual Mart Demo 1. So I'll just click through, create this mart, and I'll go ahead and add a source to it. So let's take a look at this customers table here. I'll go ahead and add that to my mart. And right away you see that it takes merely a second to add that source to the mart. Again, there's no duplication or actual moving of data going on behind the scenes there. Now if we switch to the Unify view and look at this source, we're free to modify and customize how it appears as much as we want. So for example, I can click on the source name and rename the source. I can also click into the source and say, okay, I don't want a couple of these columns included in this view. And I can click on another field and I can actually rename or alias that field and go ahead and save that. And now I've created a custom view where you can see this has been renamed, the column name there, and some fields are excluded. But this is only local to my virtual mart here. I'm not actually modifying this actual source at all, either at the underlying level where the data resides or even in the catalog for other users. So for example, if I click Save and Close and I create a new mart, I'll call it Virtual Mart Demo 2, then I'll go ahead and I'll add that same source to my mart. And right away you see it's called Customers again. And when we look at this now, and the name that we used to rename the source in our other mart is no longer appearing here. And if we look at the fields, they're all included, and the cities field doesn't show that alias that we gave it in our former mart. So we can see here how some of the benefits allow for a smooth user experience of the catalog. It's quick to add sources to marts. And within each Mart, you can feel free to rename and customize the view as you see fit for that given task at hand.
That wraps up this topic. Thanks for taking a couple minutes to watch this video.